let me see if this works a little better. So I went back and checked on my sound. I don't think the play along was happening. So let me check this. So now I got to get rid of that. Let's see where I'm at now. So let's listen. So if I stop this. Alright, good. This is what I want. Alright, let me see if this works. Perfect. Now I have the play along track going. You can hear the play along track. That's what I needed to happen. Okay, so let's keep going. So here are the sounds that we're talking about. I think I'm about to hit F minor 7. Nope, not yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, we talked about the form, how there are 16 measures of E minor 7, followed by 8 measures of F minor 7, and then another 8 measures of E minor 7. And this is important because you got to learn to keep your time. I wonder if I have the right chat box open. Let me go back and look at this. Nope. Here we go. Pop out chat. So this, goodbye. This, open that up a little bit. There are more of you guys on here. I'd care that I was, wasting your time or something. Ha! Okay, so here's where I left off with. Here's a pentatonic scale. And so when you're practicing, make a practice routine out of the pentatonic scale here. Alright, good. That's what I want to happen. So I'm going to pause this. Put my chat back up there. And so from this measure, this whole section, I'm going to put into my practice routine. Okay? I'm going to start with this. And I talked about, a couple days ago I talked about speed. Well, when you're developing these ideas, stick with some of the same principles, let's say. Pound your valves down firm. It's just going to help your muscle memory, and then when you try articulating these ideas on the fly, it's going to come out that much easier. Right? So right around the bottom, it's tripping me up a little bit. So I have to get that down. In fact, let me do this. Cut. Give myself a little bit more room. So in front of that, I'm going to, I don't want that. I want that. And I want that. So I'm going to back it up 2 notes. Okay, so A, B. And now I'm going to do B, D. So these are the notes that I'm working with, just a pentatonic scale. I'm going to back it up a little bit. I'm going to practice this. You can work on your articulation. Remember, if you want to develop speed, and check out that other video if you haven't checked it out yet, about playing fast, Pound down your valves. Play your valves, push them down hard. Tell your muscles exactly what they need to do to execute this idea quickly. But don't practice out of control, Bang your valves down. And then the other thing I like to do is try playing it as many times as you can in one breath. Again, think of this sort of as a participation sort of video. Try playing these ideas. Now, I'm going to back it up again. I'm going to work these notes in there. So now I'm playing. After you get it down, back it up again, a couple of notes. Actually, I'm going to do, there we go. So back it up another, so E up to G. If you're just checking in now, I'm using these 5 notes, and oh, thank you, grazie. The little bit of Italian that I think I know. Ha! So here. If you check out the video I have on how to play the TMEA region etude, I talk about practice rhythms. It's okay to mix up the rhythms here. When you're practicing. You're just going to learn it better. Let's back it up another couple of notes. And you're going to back it up whatever your range can handle, And if you have a hard time with your range, well, this could be a way of expanding it. Alright, so whatever your range is, maybe or what comes after that? I don't know if I can play higher than that. I don't know. You sometimes get lucky. So anyway, that's the idea. Now, if I'm practicing a pattern like this to get ideas, I'm not going to just, for example, the lamest thing you can do For goodness sake. You don't practice these ideas so you can just go and do that, okay? You do it to get that, to get the sound from the collection of notes that you want, and you do it to get that pattern under your fingers so then you can be creative with it. So, how can you be creative with it? Well, without getting too complicated. Changes to F minor 7. So, again, don't just play the pattern down. Get the pattern down so you can be clever with it, so you can be creative with it. Now, let's say you have no creativity whatsoever. That's fine. That's almost everybody. So, be like, who said this? You know, if you come up with 50 bad ideas, your 51st idea will probably be okay. Or something in there is going to sound good. So just keep coming up with ideas. You're going to come across something you like. Even writers go through this. Like, to be a good writer, you need a stack of things that you've written about 6 feet high off the ground. If you stacked everything, if you want to be a good writer, and let's say you just started writing because you wanted to be a good writer someday, you're going to need a stack of papers. If you stacked up everything that you ever wrote, single space, let's say, font 10, and you stack that all 6 feet high, that's about how much you need to write, how much garbage you need to write before you start writing something good. So, if nothing else, take that approach with improv. You might come up with a lot of ways to not play the trumpet. And that's what Edison did. He found out a lot of ways to not make a light bulb, right? He was trying different filaments for his light bulb, so legend has it. Well, it's the same thing. You're going to try out as many different things as you can to try to stumble on something that sounds good. I'm just a guy who's been doing that for a lot of years, and I stumble across something good a little bit more often than I used to, let's say. So, that's something that sounds good. If you do find something that sounds good, and that's rare for you, write it down. So maybe you write down 3, 4, do-da. That would actually come in on the upbeat of the 4th count. So let me just write it as I would, because I would do this all the time. I would sort of catalog things that I thought sounded good. So let me show you. So you come up with a good idea. 2, 3, 4. Do dot. And then there's a little pause. Do dot. And it's just using the same pattern. I'm just changing the rhythm up a little bit. Do dot. And then BD. Actually, I want to keep that. Do dot. Nope. Do dot. I gotta get quicker at this. Do dot. Boo dot. Where are we? A, B. Get off rest. Do. Da. Do. Da. Alright? So here's something that sounds good. 1, 2, 3. And you could do that anywhere. You know, you go. Or or okay, and then I came up with another idea. Maybe I'll write it down. Since I played it, and these are all, this is all just stuff that I'm more or less coming up with. It's not entirely, it's original in the sense that I'm not just transcribing somebody else's ideas, but people have played things like this all the time. I'm just giving you a basic sound blueprint, let's say, and then be creative within that blueprint. There are lots of things you can do to make this sound interesting and creative, which hopefully you're learning. And you can just play it fast. I like that at the end. And you can do that. So let me just run some of these ideas just to show you what you can do. Hopefully you can hear the play along track. Or here I just took that very simple idea, and you can play that anywhere on this scale. It's a good thing about the pentatonic scale. All the notes sound good on it, and so you're never gonna mess up. Try it again. So I don't quite have that under my fingers, but again, that's inspired from the same pattern. So let's take the track, pause that for a second, go back to our practicing. I'm going to erase this. Goodbye. So the same way that you learn this from top to bottom, learn it the other way too. So you get down to the bottom, right? Let's go the other way. A, G, what is it? B, A, D, B, E, D, G, E, A, G, B. You guys are a very quiet crowd out there tonight. Almost makes me wonder if anybody's out there. There we go. Oh, come on. Let me just stop on the B, because why not? So the same way we go down, I would recommend you go up. Now, let's say we're going up. We just go up to the A. And you just practice that much. Again, punch your valves down hard. Go up a little higher here to the B. Oh, see. Now I like to practice different kinds of articulation when I'm going through, especially when I'm playing slowly. When I'm playing slow and I'm pounding my valves down hard, which is what you do if you want to learn to play fast. But I'll practice different kinds of articulation. Single tonguing, legato tonguing, do-da, 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 or practicing jazz articulation in various ways with tonguing the upbeat and slurring to the downbeat, or doodle tonguing. If I haven't talked about doodle tonguing, it's because I didn't want to. But here's some doodle tonguing. I'm going to go to the D natural. just keep going up. And the next one would be D natural. Next one will go to the E. Next one would go to the G, which I probably will not get. Okay, so now I might go all the way down and then go back up. Let's see if there's a way I can make this more seamless. If I go, let's do this. Let me copy that, cut, paste that right here. And now you have a one seamless exercise from here to there. Right? All one seamless exercise from top to bottom. And you could practice that. And you could go, in fact, well, actually, you could go, how would I do that? Da, da. I know. When I just go from here down to there, copy, and let's see how this works. And, you know, you can just continue it on the whole way. Although that sort of makes it off by a beat. Well, shoot. But you get the idea. And so now that I've practiced that, I'll try to be creative. I gotta change my screen. Here's the track. Hello, MuseScore. Hello, that. So now I'm going to be creative. Now that we are in F minor, we can change to the F minor Dorian. Get the idea? And then you get comfortable with that. Again, now I wouldn't even use that as I would use that for ideas when I'm improvising, but that's just a color, right? And so I would spend a lot of time, yesterday we talked about limiting yourself to keep track of the form, okay? And when we limited ourselves to like the chord tones, we had a specific sound. Right? And that's fine. When we limit ourselves to the pentatonic scale, we are limiting ourselves to a particular sound, kind of a predictable sound. And that's fine, because you can come up with a lot of good material. Now, what I like to do is listen to other jazz musicians and figure out, listen to what they've come up with. And there's one idea that I really like, played by Kenny Dorham, I think. I don't know if I'll be able to play it. Oh, what was it? It was something like that. That's what it was. So that's an idea that I heard Kenny Dorham play. Let me get rid of this. Goodbye. And just let me write. So if you listen to jazz musicians, which you should be doing more than anything else. How did that lick go? I'm in the wrong key. There we go. So that has to be that. Something like that. So when I heard him play this idea, I tried playing it over, the so what chord changes, and you notice there's a glaring note outside the key signature, which we talked about a little bit yesterday, right? So that D sharp is a leading tone to the E minor 7. So this being the idea, like the actual thing that he played, you can start with that and get comfortable playing it, and then playing it over the chord changes. Let me give you an example. I think it went on. Let's see. But when I look at an idea like this, the thing that strikes me is the leading tone. To me, that's the most important part. The most interesting part. Okay? So that's the thing that I want to incorporate. This is the sound that I want to incorporate into my soloing in whatever possible way I can. So the main idea is this leading tone. I'm going to pause this for a second, and you don't have to. You can play the track and listen to it and try to come up with ideas. Let me quickly check on my sound. Part. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's go back here. So what? So this idea. The part. There's so much D sharp in that. And if you were just to play a D sharp, it might not sound great by itself, but the way it resolves to an E is really, really strong. It has a really strong pull. And I was attracted to that sound. I really like it. So I try to utilize a sound like that as much as I can. So if I'm experimenting, that's this part. Right? I might experiment with that in my solo. I'm going to for sure just practice this idea. do that. Pound your valves down and play it as many times as you can in one breath to really solidify it on your fingers. A great thing to do. Play that, verbatim, just to hear what it sounds like on the tune. Now you can spread that idea out and kind of make it your own. Use that collection of notes and exploit the sound. Right? It's a different kind of sound. Okay? So just playing around with that sound. And if you come up with an idea that you like, you'd like just this part right here, from here to here, do-da, boo-da, is a good sounding idea. In fact, I'll put it right there. Here it is. Do-da, boo-da. I also like from here to here. I think it sounds really, really good. Da, boo, da, boo, da. Just as a standalone. And I would experiment with, well, here, let me show you. So I like that. And that would start. So tell me what you think of this idea from right here. I know I'm in F minor 7. I'm going to wait till I get to the E minor 7. Here it comes. 1, 2. I added a B at the end. Would it work from here to there? Let's try putting all that together. I think it sounds okay. Yeah. And we're kind of doing a similar thing. Da boo da boo da. It's sort of a way of surrounding our main chord tone. Imagine that this E is the target, and we're playing the note above the E and the note below an E. We're playing 2 notes above the note below, 1 note above, 1 note below, and then the target. We're doing the same here. Da do da do da with this chord tone. What if we tried doing that on a B? Let's see what happens. So B is our target note. Let's start 2 notes higher. And just keep going down. Going down the pattern. So I'm going to start here. Oh, I'm sorry, here. You'll listen to changes. Here it comes. So that works just fine. let's try another chord tone. So now that you kind of understand what I'm doing, let me get rid of this. And see how this sort of inspired? Da boo da boo da. This idea inspired the same thing over a different chord. So now let's try doing it over every chord tone and see what that looks like. Because I want you to understand how we come up with ideas. So our next chord tone is D. Okay, so, alright, stick with me for a second. I want you to know exactly what I'm doing here, because this is important. Understand that all these ideas are just branches from a seed. From one very small idea, we can create a larger idea. Now, we might not like the way it sounds, we might have to change things, but that's fine. It all started with an extraction. This from here to here. That's it. This is the seed. Listen. Like that's it. And here we see it. That's the one. So the idea was, this is our target note. This is that guide tone sound that we're trying to implement. So we took this idea, which sort of surrounded around this E target note. We started 2 notes above, half step below. 1 note above, half step below, target. We're doing the same thing here on G. 2 notes above, half step below. 1 note above, half step below. Here's our target. The next target is B, and we're using E, G, and B, and D because these are our chord tones. Same thing. 2 notes above, half step below. 1 note above, half step below. Note. Here's our target note. 2 notes above, 1 below. 1 note above, 1 below. There's our target note. Let's see how it fits. Okay? Now, let me show you the notes that are not in the key. A sharp, not in the key. D sharp, not in the scale. Okay? But they work. Now, from this, we're going to extract more ideas. We see now that these 2 non-chord tones that we're using are great sounding notes in the right, if you use them right, okay? You can use any of the 12 notes, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You can use any of the 12 notes, you just got to know how. So in this case, this is a leading tone that wants to get back to a B at some point. The A sharp wants to go to B. And you can utilize that the same way as the E sharp. Okay? So you see how I'm putting ideas together? Now, if all you do is practice this pattern, you could play it verbatim. Now, again, think of this as a collection of notes to get a particular sound. You don't just play it verbatim. This is a collection of sounds to put together to get a general idea. So here I'm going to use those sounds. minor. Yesterday I talked a little bit about that A sharp again and how you can use it as a blues note and not resolve it to the B. Right? So that blues sound is another, with another collection of notes, you can create another mood, another feeling. Does this all make sense? Are you guys nodding off? Are you guys getting sleepy? Come on, man. Jazz was played at night. You guys act like you're tired. Oh, let's see. How long have I been going? 41 minutes. That's not too bad. Did she just give me a horn and a thumbs up? That's just wonderful. Did I see that over here? Yeah. Horns, thumbs up. What else wrong? Okay, so all that has to translate into F minor 7. So everything that we did over E minor 7, you have to go back and do the exact same drill in F minor 7. Does that sound like a pain? Yeah, maybe it is. How do you deal with pain? You go through it. So here we go. This is about the funnest thing that I get to do all day long. And I talked to some of my students about this. Some of you guys have trouble practicing because you're lazy. I mean, if the hardest thing you have to do all day long is practice your trumpet, you gotta like go outside and plant a garden. I mean, growing up in rural Iowa, I used to practice the trumpet to get out of gardening, to get out of doing chores around the, it wasn't exactly a farm, but, we lived in the middle of a cornfield, and we had a big garden outside, and all summer long, every day, Mom and Dad would have us go out and weed the garden, which was just a lot of work in the hot sun. Not as hot as Texas, so it wasn't that bad. But my excuse for getting out of it, I would say, you know what, I really need to practice for this audition that's coming up. And so I would get away with staying inside and practicing. I didn't have to go outside and work. I did sometimes, especially when I got in trouble. Like, that would be like punishment. 2, go outside, pull weeds. And so, we went outside and we would pull weeds for hours, all afternoon, all morning. In the morning, it'd be wet and dewy and there'd be spiders all over the place. Like, to get out of that, I would practice the trumpet. And so practicing the trumpet for me was like the greatest thing ever. It was better than watching TV because growing up, I had 4 channels on my TV. So there wasn't any TV to watch. The internet was still like new, so there wasn't anything worth watching on there. Like the internet was, you read stuff. Like, you couldn't even watch a video because the internet was so slow. Like, playing the trumpet was the best thing. It was the most fun thing I had to do. Well, that and going outside and shooting baskets or something. But if you guys have a hard time practicing, I think you got to add, something to your life that, do something difficult. Or maybe this is your difficult thing. Embrace it. If this is hard for you, good. Do it every day. It builds character. Just the thought of, gosh, I just worked on these E minor 7 ideas and now I have to do F minor. Yeah. So that's what this is. Right? Work it the same way as you did the E minors. Don't ever be lazy. It's too easy to be lazy. But go through all the same patterns that you did in E minor. Go through these same ideas here. Take this idea and work it out with this. There's tons of material just with this to practice. Let's see. And this is all stuff that I use. These are all sounds that I use constantly when I improvise, as much as I can. You guys hear that? That was kind of cool. So I just took everything down a half step. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, it's everything up a half step. Not too far. And now... This is way more trouble. I should have just did it all freehand. Whatever. So here we go. So here's the same idea in F minor. Now just because the track is not going to do exactly what I want when I want it to do it. Right? And again, working on speed like we talked about last time, you can get some of those double time licks to fit in here. Right? So, get creative. Another collection of notes. That utilizes the major chord, your G major, major 7th chord. Listen again. Because you can play your G major scale, well, your Lydian scale. Anyway, collections of sounds, and then utilize those in the next key. So just like we did there, let me try this again. Take these ideas and practice them in F minor. Let me see if I can get this right this time. So, up a half step. But see, I don't like that. There, now it looks normal. So you practice this the same way. What did I do there? Yeah, whatever. Another neat thing to do, again, just kind of based on the same idea. No, I don't want that. In this, what key am I in? Oh, I got rid of my E minor. That makes sense. So anyway, work the same way. Work up your F minor ideas. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of that. Let me clear away this. Let me clear away that. So now, another just very simple thing you can do. Simple collection of notes based on the same idea. We're taking our chord tones. We're going down a half step. And watch this. Very simple lick to learn. Okay. Listen to the effect it has. Listen to the way it sounds. Make sense? So again, it's just a collection of notes, and then try to artistically utilize it over the chord changes. Okay, any questions? I don't know if you guys got anything out of that or not. I feel like yesterday's stream went a little smoother. Yesterday's was more of a, I don't know, started from a very basic level and had a very straightforward message, you know? Keep the form, learn to hear the form, improvise within the form. Don't get too crazy outside the form. Don't get so crazy that you lose track of where you are. Today's message is come up with vocabulary that you can then implement in the form without losing track of where you are. But hopefully by doing these exercises and learning these sounds, you should be able to apply it into your phrasing. Let me see if I can do that. Be able to think these things through. Anyway, there's ones through the form. Keeping the form, utilizing some of the sounds that we talked about today, not losing track of where I'm at. We talked a little bit about yesterday about pushing the boundaries of what you can control in intelligent ways. And I would say the same thing applies here. Get really comfortable with these sounds and then apply it in intelligent ways. And if you feel like going off a little bit, do it intelligently. Like a safe place to do some double time licks if you feel like you're going to get lost is right before that F minor 7, so that you can hear where you're at. If you start doing it down here before you go back to the top, you might not hear where the top happened. Here's the top. I don't know anyway, just wanted to hit a couple ideas, talk about collections of sounds and how to utilize them in your solo. Again, not verbatim, but sort of finding how these sounds work, experimenting with them, changing the rhythms around, and thinking about and using these collections of sound to enhance your own solo. Because the more sounds that you have to play with, the more sounds you have under your fingers and at your disposal, the more interesting I think your solo has the potential of being. So, good luck practicing. Have fun with it. I keep doing that. We took family pictures years ago, and I left that as my background, so it just keeps coming up there. All right. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for sticking with it, and keep practicing, keep playing. That's it for me. I'm all done. I might practice a little bit more, but actually, the thing I didn't do a lot of today was flexibility studies. I gotta do a little bit more of that as I'm coming along. All right, I'll see you guys later.